What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today's video, it is that time. It is time to do our predictive mock draft. This is our Detroit Lions predictive mock draft. It is draft day, so let's get it started.
I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, guys don't know, DoseOfDion, he put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to the video. Glad you guys are here, and it's that time. No more waiting. It's that time where I predict who the Lions will draft in this year's draft. So no, this is not who would I draft. This is not my mock draft. This is my predictive mock draft for the Detroit Lions, and this one was tough. Okay, I mean, I don't know how it was this difficult, but it was. How at the 7th pick do we have this many options? I don't know where the Lions are going with this. They could easily trade down. Heck, they could trade up. We got a new regime. This is so tough to predict. I don't know what kind of positions the Lions value. I don't know where they're going to go. But I'm going to try my best to predict some picks here. I'm hoping I can just get one right. Just give me one. I don't know. But again, this is not necessarily who I want to draft. I'll talk about that a little bit, but we've talked a lot about that. Instead, this is what I think the Lions will end up doing in the draft if I had to predict, even though it was very difficult. So let's start off at the top and work our way through it. With the 7th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select nobody. No, I'm playing. Actually, they do select somebody. See, I was going back and forth on this because I could definitely see a trade-down scenario, and I hope we do get a trade-down scenario. I would love that. And one team I could easily see this happening with is the Denver Broncos. I talked to a Broncos guy yesterday, and he was thinking the Detroit Lions could be a great landing spot to trade up to get a quarterback. Because I'm viewing the first 6, it could go like this. First 3 quarterbacks, 4th pick, Kyle Pitts to the Atlanta Falcons. If they don't move out, I could easily see it being Kyle Pitts. If they do move out, quarterback could come up. I don't know if we're going to take quarterback there, so I got Kyle Pitts. 5th pick, Jamar Chase. I feel more and more like the Bengals go Chase. And then it's up to the Dolphins. Now, in this scenario, I have the Dolphins taking Penei Sewell. They may go with best available here to protect Tua. But I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen them everywhere. Jalen Waddle, they could trade back. I've seen so many options with the Miami Dolphins, but in this scenario, I have them going with Penei Sewell. So that leads to the Detroit Lions at number 7. And I would love to trade back with the Broncos. Actually, my first scenario had us trading back to number 9, getting their 3rd round this year and a future pick. Other scenario I had was us trading back with the New England Patriots. I'm open for all of those. But I feel like when I predict the trades, they don't happen. So I'm just going to try some different. I'm not going to predict the trade. And maybe it'll happen. I don't know. But I just can't bring myself to predict this trade. Plus, it's kind of tough to predict the trade and then the draft picks. Then it gets all crazy. But anyways, in this scenario, Lions staying at 7. With the 7th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Rashawn Slater. I'm going to go with Rashawn Slater as my prediction. This one was hard. I really went back and forth between this and a Devontae Smith. I think Devontae is someone the Lions really like as well. And Micah Parsons, he just kept slipping in my head. I was like, man, Micah. I just feel like they could easily target Micah here. But I almost have more of a feeling that it would be on a trade back. So if they traded back with Denver, if they traded back with, obviously, New England, and he's still on the board, that could easily be their target. I just went with the tackle here. I have just a little bit more of a feeling they'd go with tackle over receiver if it's not Jamar Chase. I have that feeling, kind of. I don't know. I mean, this is Brad Holmes' first time to do it, so I went with the offensive lineman out of Northwestern. Now, a quick little rundown of Rashawn Slater, if you don't know who he is. He's a very athletic offensive tackle that started at the right tackle position with Northwestern, moved to the left tackle position in 2019, opted out last season, which stinks. He's one of the most athletic offensive tackles. Foot speed is incredible. Everybody knows about his game against Chase Young in 2019, and that really, that did just wonders for his stock. His pro day was outstanding. Not only was he extremely athletic, which you all expected, he was also very strong. 33 bench press reps was huge from him. I still don't think he's a dominant run blocker, but I do think with his strengths, he'd fit really well in a zone blocking scheme. I think you could slide him to the right side. He's got 33-inch arms, which is, yes, on the way smaller side, but it's similar to a guy like Penei Sewell, so just keep that in mind. Some people believe he could move the guard. Honestly, for the Lions here, I think they'd like the versatility to play him at both spots. He's going to compete for right tackle. And we know how long it takes to develop offensive line. Year 2 is usually when they take that big jump. First year tackles struggle, even 1st and 2nd round. So worst case scenario, maybe he competes for guard spot, adds some depth. And then next year when Terrell Crosby's contract's up, when Big V's on his, out, and there's an out potential there, he could start at tackle for us. So I'm going to go with Rashawn Slater. This is tough. I'm really struggling. Again, this is not who I would take necessarily. I would love a trade back option here, but I'm going to just predict Rashawn Slater. Hey, Tevin Jenkins, come on, baby. Give me some Tevin Jenkins. I'd be hyped. Anyways, it moves on to the 2nd round. With the 41st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Baron Browning, linebacker out of Ohio State. Now, why Baron Browning, right? Baron Browning. Okay, so at 6'3", 245 pounds, I go with the Buckeyes linebacker. Obviously, I'm not an Ohio State fan, but I think what he can bring as an edge defender makes this very intriguing for Detroit. We heard the rumors yesterday about Jalen Phillips, which tells me that they could be interested in adding someone that could get after the quarterback. I like that. I really do. But you look at a guy like Baron Browning, he can kind of do it all. Some people believe that he could be strictly an edge at the next level. I think his size gives him a lot of scheme versatility depending on what the Lions go to next season. But I like the fact that he can play everywhere on the field. I really like him in the future as, one of the 3 linebackers, as an inside linebacker. I really like that if you're in a 3-4. But he can also play outside linebacker. He's a big hitter. That size and speed combination is what is really going to sell a lot of teams. You ran a 4.5 140 at 245 pounds. I thought that was huge. But it is about finding the role for him. It's about figuring out where he's at his best. He hasn't played that many snaps. He's missed some time. We know he's extremely athletic, but he's at limited snaps. He still looks slightly slow to things. I don't know how dominant he'll be year 1. But I feel like this is, with Jamie Collins here, an opportunity for him to try to develop, get some reps early, could play as the edge, could bounce back up to linebacker, be a big hitter. So a guy that I like watching play over the middle. I don't know. I just think the fact that he can be a pass rusher and effective he can be there with Jalen Phillips in the scenario off the board and you're in the 2nd round, I think the Lions go maybe after a guy like Baron Browning. Maybe they mix it up a little bit. So I took the versatile linebacker at 41. Then that moves us on to the 3rd round. With the 72nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select their first receiver. Just want to stop in real quick to let you guys know that if you guys were ever interested in investing in our favorite sports teams like us as Detroit Lions fans, you guys should check out www.symbol.app. It's a way to basically invest in your favorite sports team and earn a payout when your team wins. So for us as Detroit Lions fans, now we can finally invest in something that we actually know. And with the draft coming up very soon, this is your opportunity to get involved. You guys can use promo code DOD for a $10 bonus deposit. Check it out. Damon Ross St. Brown out of USC, a 5'11", 200-pound receiver that I think I had him. If he wasn't in my top 10, he was just outside of my top 10. I can't remember at this point, but I think he's a really good receiver. He's not the most elite athlete, like he's not extremely fast in the top end, but he's been productive ever since he stepped into USC. Extremely productive. He can reach out, make some really nice catches. He can play through some contact, but it's his body control that's also incredible. That helps him a lot downfield, just finding a way to adjust to the football when it's in the air. A lot of his damage, though, is from the slot position. And I think with the Lions right now, they could use that. They could use, maybe a little bit of a bigger slot. Obviously not a big one, but a little bit of a bigger slot with outside, inside versatility here. Just, to me, a pretty pure pass catcher. He does have some ugly drops, but for the most part, he's a very pure pass catcher in my eyes. He has had some yak. He averaged 4 yards after the catch. Not incredible, but he can make guys miss when the ball is in his hands. I don't think he has the elite role. I don't know how dominant he'll be on the outside, at least right away, but I think the inside or outside versatility gives the Lions, a little bit of flexibility with him here, and plus it gives you a very extremely productive player in college to pair with the Tyrell Williams, a Brashad Perriman, a Khalif Raymond, and gives them a really nice slot with Quintez Cephas. Maybe he can play a little more on the outside, but you can move him back and forth depending on matchups. So I take St. Brown out of USC. That moves us on to the 4th round, and with pick 101, with the 101st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Caden Stearns, safety out of Texas. Okay, now I know if you do the mock draft simulators, usually Andre Cisco is available. I would take Cisco over Stearns, but the thing is that I don't think Cisco's falling that far. I think Stearns can fall that far. I like his size at 6'2", 207. I think the Lions will like that. He has good size with really nice long end speed, which allows him to play that deep safety role, allows him to play a split safety and a deep safety role, be the single high, which I think the Detroit Lions could a little bit of use in some of that. I mean, Walker wasn't known for that coming out of the draft. Will wasn't really known for that coming out of the draft. Dean Marlowe showed that he could play it. He doesn't have tremendous top end speed though. Aggressive as a safety. I did consider going with more of a man-to-man safety here. Ardarius Washington is always available at the spot, and if the Lions did that, wouldn't shock me at all. More of a man-to-man coverage guy because he's not at his best necessarily in that role. Can do it in spurts, but it's not his best at it. And I can see the Lions using that, knowing how much they played a 4-2-5 with the Saints last season. But maybe we'll see more of a role there for Will Harris and potentially Tracy Walker. Potential deep safety next season that can do a little more of that. I mean, he's played a lot of different spots on the field. He's close to the box as a blitzer. He's not super impactful there. Even though his size may say it, he's not a very physical safety. So, as much as he's a willing hitter, there's some physicality clearly lacking in his game. But I think, he's had the 5 interceptions in his career. He's been a playmaker. He's been a ball hawk. He's done a lot of different things for Texas. So I went with Caden Stearns. This is an interesting one. Probably not my top choice. It just depending on what the board is looking like. But I think the size and speed combination here is going to be very interesting to Detroit. The ability to play the deep safety role, which I've seen them mix in with Marcus Williams. Next up at pick number 112, we have cornerback Ambry Thomas out of Michigan. Now, yeah, we got Michigan and Ohio State. Didn't even realize that. I haven't mocked Ambry Thomas to the Detroit Lions often. I don't love him right now. Obviously, if I was on the board right here and Rodarius Williams was available, which it was in my mock, I would have taken Rodarius all day. But I went with Ambry Thomas. I think Ambry Thomas may fit the build a little bit better for what the Lions look for at the cornerback position. Being 6 foot, 191 could definitely pack on some more muscle there, but he has the height that checks the box. He has the physicality. He's played a lot of press man at Michigan. That's kind of all they did. The issue is we didn't see him last season. We haven't seen that many snaps from him, but that's where he plays. I mean, he's a man-heavy corner that has also shown his ability to play cover 3, press bail, which I think is going to be 2 of the Lions' heaviest coverages they used next season, man and cover 3. I think those 2 things the Lions are going to use a lot, so I think he definitely checks those boxes. Of course, the speed is there. The athleticism has never been a question with him. He's one of the fastest corners you'll find, which is great. Does have a tendency to grab a little bit too much when guys beat him early, but if you did watch him in the Senior Bowl, I mean, he's a very physical cornerback that will get after it. He may have an opportunity to play some slot. I'm just saying he may have an opportunity to prove himself a little bit at the slot position and give the Lions a little bit of versatility between the both there. Again, I would take Rodarius in this situation, but when I consider the size and speed, last time we seen him on a field, he allowed a 53% completion percentage with a 56 pass rating, 3 interceptions, and 1 touchdown. One of the biggest things he's lacking right now is at the point of attack. When the ball is up in the air, go up and get it, fight it, wrestle it out of the receiver's hands. Doesn't really have that. As physical as he is, he struggles with that. Going up and making a play on the football. He does get his head turned around, so he's not going to draw flags there. I think a lot of that has to do with how slim he's built. So I think, you pack on a little more muscle there, get a little bit stronger, he'll be way more physical at the point of attack, which means maybe slightly more developmental, but that's okay. You got a deep cornerback room, but you're going to need help there. And cornerbacks like linemen take a big jump year 2. They're supposed to. So hopefully Okuda's a B. The developmental corner that has the physical traits that the Lions would love. And then you move on to the final pick in this year's draft. And at pick number 153, the Detroit Lions go with a position that's come up much more recently. And this is a running back. Yeah, the Detroit Lions surprised and go a little bit of a running back here. Now, again, I would love the trade back option that we could have more picks, but I'm going to go with the running back. Now, the first name I had was Demetric Felton, but the more and more I thought about it, I don't think Felton would fall. I love the thought of him being a dynamic that's, listed as a running back, but he also can play slot. I love that idea because I think as much as it says running back, Demetric Felton's ability to line up at slot and also line up at the running back position and be a pass-catching threat would be awesome. That'd be great, but I don't think Felton will fall. So I went a little bit different with this one. I went with Jarrett Patterson, the running back out of Buffalo. Okay, now Jarrett Patterson, for most projections, falls this far. I have a feeling that he probably will. 5'7", 195, but he was super productive. Well over 7 yards per carry in his last season. To me, he's a great zone scheme fit, which I think the majority of rushing plays will be for the Lions. Not all of them, but I think that's will be most of it. He's a good cut runner that can play between the tackles. Very crafty. He makes everybody miss when the ball is in his hands. Of course, the competition level was very questionable. I think his height is a big question as well, but I think he has the tools to line up, be a pass catcher as well, even though he's not very big. So it's going to keep him somewhat limited. He's going to be more of a gadget guy in that area, but I think he'd be a good pass catcher. Even though he was very unproductive, he didn't really do anything the last time we saw him on the field as a pass catcher. They just didn't use him there. Buffalo's a run-heavy offense, so they ran the ball a ton, and they had a good offensive line. But I think he has the tools to be a pass catcher. So I went with a little bit of surprise. I took a running back, Jarrett Patterson, for the Detroit Lions. Running back's been kind of pushing his way up there. When I take a look at what the Chargers had last year, the fact that they had 4 running backs on their roster, when I take in consideration Kerryon Johnson's past with injuries, Swift dealing with the concussion last season, I love me some Jamal Williams. I just have a feeling that they could grab a 4th running back. I love it more on a trade back scenario. I like the idea of a Chris Evans, and Patterson doesn't fall for whatever reason. He could also come up as an option because of the fit here as a blocker, as a receiver, as a between the tackles type of runner. So that's kind of what I molded this off of a little bit. But I think for a guy like that, it's more maybe even a UDFA push. So yeah, if we could trade back, add more picks late rounds, this would be a probably better scenario. But this is my predictive mock. An offensive tackle. They get a linebacker that can also be a pass rusher. They get a developmental corner. They get a safety that can play the deep safety, can be a little bit of a ball hawk in the back end. Themselves a running back to add some more depth there, add some more competition, because of course Kerryon's only is on the final year's deal, and Jamal's only got 2 years under that contract. So there are some decisions that are going to have to be made for the future, and Patterson could be part of that as a between the tackles runner. See, what Jarrett Patterson to me is kind of like that big power back, and people always say, well, we need a power back. You always have to decide, do you want the gadget guy, do you want the speed guy, do you want the power power back. This one may be more on the power back side, just kind of the run style he has, which the Lions could use. I don't think they really have that, but he also is extremely elusive. So I went with Jared Patterson here. And then, of course, we got the receiver, and I think, obviously, Lions got to draft at least one receiver. So I did spread this out, but I don't know. It was hard to predict this draft. I just tried to, go positions and certain builds I think the Lions would like, and, guys off the field that have really checked the boxes in that area. If they checked the boxes off the field, if I felt like they had the build to fit the scheme, I really heavily considered them. I would change some things about this personally. My 7th pick, I would love to trade back that one. I'm a big Tevin Jenkins guy, you know me. 41, I'm not mad about the Baron Browning one. 72, I like St. Brown a lot. I would probably take Wallace if he was there over St. Brown, though. Then I look at a guy like Stearns. Yeah, I mean, I could see taking Ardarius Washington. You could flip this one if you wanted more of a man coverage for the slot guy with D. Marlowe not being great at that. I get it. And then, of course, Ambry Thomas. I would take Rodarius over Ambry any day as a Michigan fan, but I think what Ambry Thomas build is going to intrigue the Lions. And then, of course, Jared Patterson. Yeah, you could go anywhere. You could go edge with that, but I think kind of fills that role a little bit is Baron Browning. You could go with, I mean, you go tight end maybe, but I think the Lions will look more UDFA and give their guys a shot there. So there you go. That's my predictive mock draft. What do you guys think? Make sure you come back here. We're going to be live for the draft. Also, we're going to be on there as well. So make sure you go check it out. Tonight is the draft. Who are the Lions taking at 7? Let me know your prediction. Not who you want. Let me know your prediction. I really was thinking receiver, but I won't Slater. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.